apparently, word on the street is we're live now on YouTube. I'm here with allegedly Dave, and we are here to do the Tour-a-thon. This is a new app. As you may see in the corner, it says powered by StreamYard. And myself, I've never used this app before. Neither has Dave, as far as I'm aware. So we had to navigate a way around Google Hangouts. And Dave was going to go live on Google Hangouts with his channel. And obviously, for some of us that have moved on to OBS and not using Hangouts anymore, I was unaware that actually Hangouts had sufficed to exist on YouTube. If I'm right in saying that, you're no longer able to use it. So here we are. This is how we're going to present to you today the Global Tour-a-thon with myself and Dave. And we thought we maybe have like an extent of spoke about, and we thought that was a nice way to incorporate it into what we're doing today. So first of all, Dave, I'm just going to double check with the chat room. If you could let us know if you can hear us and you say something so they can hear you.
Right, I'm gonna have to talk any second now anyway, because I've left my live stream thing set up, and I'm just going to direct everybody here once we get the link. That is.
Exactly. So I'm going to check my messages now, and I'm hearing yeses in the chat room, which is a good look. So apparently the chat room's able to hear us. And Dave, I'm just going to send you a link now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, here's the link in 3, 2, 1. Sending. Thanks, Jason. We were unable to find. I couldn't see it anywhere. So YouTube wanted to hide my own link from me. I was unable to send the link. They prevented us for the last 20 minutes to advertise this stream. We were unable to do it. On my screen right now, it's telling me 21 people are viewing. I'm seeing people in the chat room. Jason of the Disbury, lovely to see you. Flat Earth Trev, lovely to see you as well. Ricardo, lovely to see you. Jack, Clive, Ricardo, JP, Michael, Hunter Casey, and Nikki. Lovely to see you all here. This is going good so far. I think we're live and we're able to be heard. And I'm going to take a sip of this coffee because I feel a sigh of relief coming on.
Well, give me a minute or so, because it's on my side, my little thing. It's the time has expired, but there's nothing. It's waiting for D Murphy 25
on Streamlabs or the other one.
On my YouTube live stream, it says waiting for Dave Murphy 25. So apparently I'm waiting for me as well. So I'm just going to go quiet for a minute.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, well, that leaves me with you guys. So today we're going to talk about the Global Tour and all the ways in which everybody can get involved in that tour, whether you're a viewer, whether you're a content maker, whether you're somebody that wants to get involved with the tour, come out onto the street and join in. I've had a couple of people over the last 24 hours that came out to the really welcome meetup and said, you know what, I can't guarantee what days, but I want to be able to give a couple of days to the European section. And there's people that have now confirmed that they're going to fly out, get the train out, and even if it's for 2 or 3 days, they're coming out to take part in the tour. And one person, I won't say who it was, just in case they don't want me to say their name, he said, I don't really know what I'm going to do, though. He says, I'm not really a guy that's going to kind of go out and do activism, but I feel there's maybe tripods I could be helping with, or making sure. And there's so many aspects to going out on the street and talking to people about this, even just in the 24 hours. I said, can someone hold that charger? Can someone just see if there's, and you're holding the camera and you're live in that moment and you're trying to convey it as best as you can. So I feel the saying, all hands on deck, in whatever capacity you feel that you can give something to this tour, in whatever shape or form whatsoever. All of this is going into the bigger picture of circumnavigating the censorship and getting this conversation out to the masses, the sleeping masses. So hopefully that resonates with you all so far. And Dave is here with us. He's just multitasking just now because he's got a live stream active on his channel. And unfortunately, Google has let us down by not letting us use Google Hangouts on YouTube anymore. So here we are presenting to you with StreamYard. That is not a plug for advertising, by the way. It's just in the corner of my screen and it's going powered by StreamYard. And I can see what does that look like? Is that a duck? Is that a mallard? Well, anyway, it's StreamYard. I don't know. Does anyone in the chat room know about this? It's not an app, actually. I keep saying app, and it's not an app, is it? It's a website. So as you all know, Google Hangouts isn't working. We're here with this. Has anyone used this before? Has anyone got any experience with Streamlabs? Because I am here for the first time with it. And so far, me and Dave have managed to just pop up and go through YouTube, and here we are. It was almost too easy, actually. It was just a link, and probably the least hassle I've ever had in going online with something. National Memorial Gardens, awesome to see you in the chat room. Thank you so much for being there yesterday at the Really Woke meetup. It was lovely to spend some time with you and the family. Brian Stavely, lovely to see you in the chat room. Thanks so much for being here with us. We're just literally getting set up just now. This is the first few minutes of our section of the Tour-a-thon. Dave is just handling some bits and pieces in the background. We've got some things we're going to talk about today as well. And in conjunction with that, we're going to be bringing that in with the Global Eye Tour, the Kidderminster Convention, and showing you all the ways that we can bring you into the tour, because it's not just my tour, Jason's tour, Dave's tour. It's we the people's tour. It's a way for us to, as I said, get around the censorship, but it's not just content like myself. It's CFR News. Shout out to CFR News as well. There are so many citizen journalists that are putting their heads above the parapet and speaking about what's really going on. Not like the mainstream media who let us down a long time ago. That has been ingrained for a long time. And I think we, the people, have got to the point where we've gone, right, I've seen something, I'm going to say something. All right, fair enough, it might not be accurate, but I'm still going to call it as I'm seeing it. And hopefully that interaction will bring me to a place where I've got a better understanding of things. And I'm just going to give a massive shout out to Brian Stavely, because, as I said to Red Pill Phil yesterday, it's channels like yours that give me what I really need. I really need to see what's going on. And the subject matters that channels like yourselves talk about, there's such a broad spectrum of things going on. And I love seeing guys like you in the chat room, because together we are stronger. We're much stronger together, no matter what subjects everyone's talking about. I love that. So yeah, again, my ability to use 1,000 words instead of 10 is just taken over there again. And Adam Meakin as well. Lovely to see you in the chat. You there? Are you there, Dave?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I couldn't. Why does YouTube make everything difficult nowadays? It's like incredible. You know, when I first started using it, it was like, oh, you know, fairly straightforward to do anything. But now that they're cracking down on everybody, they're making it's like they're making it as difficult as possible to do anything on there.
I just said the easiest thing today was using this StreamYard website.
Yeah, it's almost surprising when things go right. It's like, oh,
we were sitting there going, can't be this simple, really, and we just go live. Yep, and here we are. So that was the silver lining. Everything else has become a minefield there. Everything.
Yeah, I've literally spent virtually all day trying to set up a live stream on YouTube, same thing. All day, just that one task. It's incredible, you know. So anyway, breathe, Dave, breathe.
That's what I had to get myself to do. When I said, just give me a second to get a glass of water and a coffee, because thank you, Jason. Thank you for all your support as well this afternoon. I was on the phone to Jason 20 minutes and he went, have you used this before? I went, no, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Everything else has been so difficult. I mean, going from the sublime to the extreme here. And again, I just want to thank everybody that's taking the time out to be with us here this afternoon. We're here to talk to you about the Global Eye Euro Tour, which is kicking off on the 29th of August. And we are here as part of the Tour-a-thon. This is good. I've got an excuse to talk more with you, so I'm like, I'm down. Let's go.
Right. Well, I didn't think we were going to just talk about the thing, because that's like a 5-minute talk, isn't it? It's going to be great. We're going to have so much fun.
No, you're right. You're right. But there's so many things that have happened over the last 12 months. There's so many things that we've gone out there and done. There's so many to take it where we're going. We feel that the collaboration of everyone putting their 2 cents worth in and going, all right, okay, let's relay it. I can do this, I can do that, and I'll put that in, and here we are. And this is why we're here now. Like, we're collaborating on the tour as well. When are you aiming to join me?
Right. Well, I think it's I've got an event I've got to do. I think it's October the 5th to the 7th. So I'm going to come out to you wherever you happen to be on the 7th or 8th, and join you then. We've still got to work out how that's going to work. I mean, you're just going to, I'm going to appear at an airport somewhere and try and figure out where you are.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull up in the Globe Live mobile and beep, beep, and you're going to get in and we're going to just take on the rest of Europe.
Sounds easy, but
all we've got to do is be there and do what we do. And that to me is the essence of this. I think for all of those that were involved in the first Globe Live tour with John Smith Globe Live, I think, you know, we were thrown into the pan on a daily basis. It was actually just a daily basis. Right. And there was no time to debrief. There was, you know, the next day, before you knew it, you were having the next 100 interactions. You were in the next town, and you really did kind of, it became like one big blur, even though we had the updates and everything else. And I think, with that being said, there's so much to be had. It's almost like the list is endless, right?
Well, if it's anything like our Speaker's Corner jaunts, it's going to be incredibly full on. We're not even going to have time to even talk amongst ourselves, really, you know, because
there wasn't time on the first. I'll be honest with you, there was 3 of us in the camper van, and Jason, you'll cooperate with this. You've literally just done. You finished the activism. You now have to leave where you're parked in the town centre, and then you go, do we now drive somewhere to cook and eat, or do we drive where we're going to sleep and cook and eat? How far is the cook and eat destination that we're going to go and sleep? That an hour and a half? Right, well, it's 9:30 now, because we spent 2 hours talking to people after we finished the activism. We're not driving away until 9:45. But hold on, we need to do the update for everybody. So we'll park up at a garage, we'll do the update, we'll show everybody what happened today and go through it with everybody, because we needed the debrief as much as everybody else, right? We needed to talk through the conversations we had to get some feedback on were other people were shocked at that answer. Like the guy, I'm sure everyone that was watching the pilot, the private pilot, that said to Harry, I've got a picture of the curve on my phone. Yeah, and he's going through the phone, going through the phone. And Harry went, yeah, I've got all day. I'm ready to get my coat. You can send me home. Show me the picture. And the guy's come up with his phone and gone, there you go. There's the curve. And as he's showing his phone, he's gone, curves. It's there. You can see it. Now, I was dumbfounded in the chat room. I wasn't actually on the street that day, but the people that were there and everyone in the chat room, we were like, is this guy trolling? Is he taking the mick? Is he doing this and that? But it was night. It was like, we've got to put it to bed later on once we'd spoken about it. And I feel that it leaves you no time, because after that, you've got to go to sleep. You've got to wake up in the morning. You've got to go. And I love it. I couldn't get enough of it. I wanted to do that every day of my life. But like you said, you very seldom have time to go, so I'm just going to catch up with this for 2 hours. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I doubt there is going to be much time for us to be sitting down and having a nice, relaxing coffee and going,
well, apparently we get a couple of days off, so that will probably be those times, won't it?
I have seen that scheduled in. I just hope that as we're talking, is it right with you if I go to the chat room? Because I'm seeing a lot of awesome stuff in the chat room that I want to give a shout out to, if that's all right. And it's on the right hand. I'm loving this platform. I've never seen it come up like this, and it's still very user friendly. So I'm just going to scroll up quite far, because there's quite a lot of stuff. Ruben, hello, my darling. Everybody equals mind control squared. I can see Ranty in the chat room. Hope your live stream went well. We were a little bit sidetracked with this. So as I went to go into your chat room, we were just like, actually, we better just go live. So I'm just going up because I don't want to miss anybody. There's some, do you know what? Well done, chat, everybody, for being here in the chat room and interacting the way you are. Awesome. Sean Becker, Effie Mowry, Kath Bowering, The One, Arwin, the Meekin, how you doing, darling? Amanda Panda, and Human Boy as well. Nicholas, and as I said, I hope I'm not missing anyone out. And Deck, Where's the Curve? Michael Bohr. The Earth is seriously flat. I like that name. The Earth is seriously flat.
I've just seen in the chat room as well, so asking about Red Flag Media. He's taken some time away from social media, so I don't blame him really. I really want to get away from it myself, but hats off to him. He's literally just cut himself off it, and taking a breather from it. So I do hope he's going to be back at some point, because I'd like to hear what he has to say about certain things as well. So yeah.
Awesome. And we've got in the chat room as well. We've got Karen B in the chat room as well. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us, guys.
I smell coconut.
You smell coconut?
Sorry, it's a little private joke. Me and Karen B, she always smells of coconut. Just reminds me of pina coladas every time I see her.
No, I've got a song playing in my head. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, darling. Thanks for that. So while everyone's here, can you let us know what you've been up to recently?
Oh, me? Oh, gosh. Not an awful lot actually, because I've been writing a book, and I've had like 2 or 3 talks to write, and it's all sort of heads down looking at a screen all day. I've also launched a bit of a fundraiser of my own. My wheel appeal.
The wheel appeal.
The wheel appeal.
I want you on one of those wheels. Genuinely, you need one. You need one. You're up for it, and that's what I like. The alternative uses of travel. I know they're trying to stop the electric scooters and all of that, but again, we the people need to go. No, it's there. We'll use it. You're not going to take it away from us like you did with the cars and have us all on fuel.
Again, hopefully we can get to talk about stuff like that, because one of the things I want to talk about as well is is this system, how it's actually confused our minds to accept some absolutely crazy things, and we all see it as normal, but when you just step back and go, what is that really? And it just seems crazy. I think we touched upon it. We touched upon it when we did one of our pursuit of truthiness talks. Yeah, we're saying about being able to move between countries. Yeah, and we just looked at the analogy of a bird. We're supposed to be for these intelligent creatures. Yet a bird has more freedom than we do. It can just fly off to wherever it wants, and nobody's going to question it when it gets there. But yet we if we even try and go somewhere else, we're going to get stopped and questioned, and and probably put away because we tried to go somewhere else. It's just crazy. So I hope we get to talk about something like that as well.
Yeah, me too. I'm seeing a lot of interesting bits and pieces in the chat room, and I'm sorry. The reason I don't know why the comments are popping up the way they are. Nora, thank you so much for your comment, darling. That's lovely. And everyone that's putting lovely comments, it's just I have control, but it's like the chat's moving, and it's like I'm going, yeah. So my apologies. And someone in the chat room will know what I'm saying when I say my apologies. So, and also with what you were saying, Dave, the diversity of the pursuit of truthiness conversations that we had. At the time, I had no preconceived kind of expectations for how far we were going to take certain subjects, but all I knew was that what I personally wanted to talk to you about. And every time I've seen you at Speaker's Corner, I've seen you in Brighton, I've seen you at various places, and I've always wanted to, I've never been selfish enough to do it because there's always so many people around. It's like I want to sit down and go, sorry, can I just talk to you for 3 hours, please? I really want to talk to you for an hour about that. And then you kind of go, yeah, I can't do that. Like there's 20 other people here that want to speak to you. And yeah, if I'm lucky, I'll get 10 or 15 minutes, but actually having that space to do those 4 parts and really go. And even after I was like, yeah, there's like another 120 parts that I want to talk about, and still will never really scratch the surface. But it's bringing all of the time that you spent, and you've got a lot of time under your belt, all the time that you spent looking at these subjects, bringing it to the surface and going, you know what, look into this, look into that. No, you're not being preached to. No, I'm not saying that's not that and this is that. It's just another way of looking at things. And I really love the unoffensive way that you present your research.
I was really lucky, really, because when I started looking at all this stuff, I'll give an example of the amazing things that just happened. I was at work one day, and I did that Neo thing, the bit in the Matrix where he's sitting in front of his computer and the computer switched off, and he's just staring at the blank screen, going, like, what am I doing here? I was doing that. I was literally staring at my blank screen, going, why am I here? I don't want to be here. You know what? I don't want to be doing this anymore. And then
was it making you feel like repulsed, like you were?
At the time, it was more that it was more the realization that it wasn't what I thought it was. We all get jobs because we're told we have to have jobs. Yeah, we all get jobs that we think we have a fantasy about. We have a fantasy view of what that job is. If you're a policeman, you kind of think you're going to be Starsky and Hutch, or you're going to be Dixon of Dock Green or something like that. But you have this fantasy about what that job entails and what it means and how you're contributing to society. Yeah. And when I went into computer programming, I fell for the idea that what I was doing was making the world a better place by taking away the drudgery and replacing it by automatic systems that could just handle the crap, so we can get on with having fun and enjoying our lives. But it slowly dawned on me that what I was doing was enslaving people to a computer. I was getting people, making people unemployed, for one thing, and literally taking the humanity out of life. So where you had a person you can interact with and actually have a human conversation, and a human interaction. So you say, like, you're at the social security office, and look, this is what happened to me. I'm homeless now, not for any fault of my own. I haven't got any money of this, that, the other. And the person can empathize with you. Okay, and that person has autonomy, has power to say, okay, you know what? Here, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll do this. Now it's this bod who has no autonomy, has no power, is in front of a computer screen and literally will type in what you say, and the computer will usually say no. And all he can say is, sorry, the computer says no. That's it. And there's no pushback.
Correct.
There's
Catherine Tate did that. Computer says no,
yeah.
no. And that's I feel like that's how the shutters get pulled down when you're trying to navigate through the infrastructure that is the legal system that we live in, the welfare system, the benefits system, the housing system, the NHS system. All these systems will make you feel like they're assisting you to a certain degree until you get bottlenecked down an avenue, and then they pull the shutters down on you.
Well, I think there's a darker part to this, because I remember a moment where I was really excited about how clever I was. Okay, I was writing code, and I was really without being sorry.
You're so smart, writing code and all that. Brain box, you.
Shut up. I was so happy because to be honest, I was good at what I did. Really, I was. When I write code, I'd always come up something really amazing, and I remember coming up with this piece of software that was just really cool, and I felt really kind of, look at this, everyone. This is really, until I realized the effect it was going to have on people, on one person in particular, which meant that if she wasn't going to retire anyway, she'd have lost her job, and that's it, And I realized that, my compartmentalized job, I got to get a glimpse of outside of the compartment and how my little piece was affecting actual people. And after I had that realization, I couldn't. My heart wasn't in the game anymore, and I couldn't really get myself back into it.
No.
And
And it's almost like the light had gone out. The flame, the drive in where you were going. That was it. There was no going back from that.
I don't know if I said I mentioned this in one of our talks, but when I came back to the UK, I tried to get a job. I tried to reinsert myself into the matrix. Tried to get a job in a company that didn't seem like it was going to do any harm to anyone. It was like online competitions. Did I mention this one before?
No.
Right. Well, I took this job with this company that did online competitions. So you make a video, you like a talent show type thing, and people vote on it, and so on and so on. And I thought, well, that's quite innocuous. That's not going to hurt anyone, So
Yeah.
I took this job, and again, I put my full sort of energy into it, and started to do some cool stuff. And then we had a company meeting, and and this was like 6 months in, and the boss basically said, okay, this is what we're really doing. He said, we are putting a like tracking software on people's computers when they sort of join these competitions, and we're literally gathering this information that there's no way you can.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Data collecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they were getting information that you wouldn't normally be able to get from people, or you wouldn't realize you were giving away. Like, who's the person that you most confide in? Yeah. What's your stance on certain political things? I mean, who do you talk to about political things? Who do you talk to about personal things? So on and so on. It's kind of also like metadata, about you. And they were collecting. They were literally tracking you through all this. Yeah, they were actually tracking you through all social media, all these social media sites, which are all essentially one site, really, and essentially packaging that up and selling it to corporations. And I was like the only one who stuck my hand up and said, you know what, that doesn't sound ethical. Should we be doing this? And the boss basically said, well, if we didn't do it, somebody else would do it, and they'd get the money. So I was like utterly disgusted. So I was almost in the mind there to just walk out right there. But I hit upon a different approach. Literally for the next 6 months, I didn't do any work whatsoever. I literally sat there and I did my own research for 8 hours a day. And I managed to keep it going for 6 months. Literally doing no work for 6 months and hoping that I was putting a bit of a spanner in the works, and I wasn't going to be contributing to it, and I just put a little spanner in work. So I'm sort of negating what I'd already added to it, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'd worked 6 months into it, and I thought, well, let's take away that 6 months because I don't want to be part of it. So I managed to hold it out for 6 months, to the point where I got a bit I got bored with doing that, so I ended up leaving. But that's the thing. These jobs. Oh, well, there's so much to talk about these jobs. Well, look at the word job. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
Well, there's a book in the Old Testament called Job, but it's spelled Job, and we're supposed to think it's two different things. But when they say it's a job or a Job is an affliction to make you want to curse the Most High. That's what these things are, basically. They're really there to keep us busy, to keep us occupied. That's why they call them occupations and busyness. Yeah. It's and this is where it gets a bit dark. It's really all about keeping the herd still and quiet while they march us off to the slaughterhouse. That's essentially what it is. Because if how many people here? About 70 million people in this country. Imagine 70 million people doing their own thing, going their own way, living in the woods or living however they want. Imagine how difficult it is to round people up and kill them. You have to standardize people. You have to make sure they all do the same thing, and they all get trapped in the same lane, basically, same train tracks, so that they can just pick you off easily because it's all streamlined. And that's what society is. And it's and I was just talking about this to somebody the other day, that that most people aren't ready for the real truth. There's a big dark truth to this world, and there's some people not ready for flat Earth, and some people aren't ready for the legal system or the medical system. But there's a dark truth to this world. And somebody put enslavement. It's not about enslavement. That's just one step along the way. Yeah, enslavement is necessary, as I said, to keep you in your lane so that they know where you are and how to deal with you. But it's literally genocide. It's about getting rid of most of us and only leaving their bloodline around. That's it. So I'm sorry, I talk too much as well sometimes.
No, not at all. I'm seeing the feedback from the chat room as well. There's so many people that are like, oh, do you know what? If you could go a bit more on that. There's so, like I said, you've got such mileage under your belt of the amount of time you spent looking into these things and actually letting us go a little bit. Myself, I can't say others. I won't speak for other people. For me, it's allowing me to go a little bit down those paths and pursuits of truth on those, because like myself, I know a lot of people can relate to this. Is no one's actually just looking at one subject. We're all looking at a multitude of subjects and topics that have all been taught to us as fact. And all of these topics have the same connotations, the same social connotations. Oh, you're going against what we've been taught as fact, not really socially acceptable. So you're kind of forced to stay away from really delving into these subjects. Like, when you told me about where the word slave comes from, I've had a lot of conversations with people that really do put themselves on a soapbox talking about slavery, yet don't know where the word comes from. Find that astounding, because I try to invest myself in my research enough to talk about it in an informed way. And even I realized that I thought I let go of most of what I was taught, but I still use the things that I was taught to try and describe what it is I'm talking about. And just listening to you envelop on some of those topics is truly wonderful. So don't apologize for speaking too much about things, because I think I can speak for a lot of people in the chat room. I for one love hearing you talk about it. So please don't ever stop that.
Well, it's interesting. You talking about slavery. I was talking to somebody about where slavery came from the other day, and
like it's Slavic.
Slavic, yes, it's from the Slavs.
That's it.
That's where the word came from. And I mentioned one of our talks that the Slavs are one branch of the Canaanites. Now, somebody I was talking to mentioned, well, if you look at the Old Testament, it says it talks about slavery all the time there. So the Most High condoned slavery. Well, what I basically said to him was that, well, actually no, because there was no such thing as this slavery back in those days. And what it was actually servitude, and it was a completely different thing. And it was actually a blessing. And they couldn't really get their heads around that, but it was a blessing. So I'll put you through a scenario here, okay? You imagine the Israelites would go to war with, let's say, a city. There was a city called Shechem, and literally, what happened was there was a guy from Shechem, the son of the chief, who took the Israelites, the only sister, Dinah, who was apparently 14 years old. He took this girl and raped her, and then decided he wanted to marry her. So the Israelites went to war with the people of Shechem, and killed all the men in the city. Okay, so what would happen after that is that the women and children would become servants, and that's the Christian translators translated that word to slaves, but it's actually servants. Okay, so the women would become maid servants, the young men will become page boys and stable hands and things like that. But if you think about it, Israelites are in a war with this city. The men get killed. All the spoil, all the valuables get taken. Everything valuables taken. All the houses and the city gets burned down and whatever. Okay, what would happen to let's say you with a couple of children? You know, if you live from that city, you've got your father and your husband are dead. You know, you've got no belongings. You've got nowhere to live. So what would happen is the Israelites would take you as a servant, and you wouldn't be treated as a slave. You'd be a servant. And if you look at the Old Testament, it tells you that you don't treat the widow or the fatherless badly. You treat them with respect. You treat, you know. So what would happen is that they would go into servitude. Now, while I was thinking about this, the word Jubilee kept coming into my head. I was like, Jubilee, what was Jubilee? So I started looking at reading the book of Jubilees, and it dawned on me. Every 7 years, there's a Jubilee. It's a year of release. So every 7 years, all prisoners are released, all debts are paid, nullified. Yeah, all property is returned to those who it belonged to in the first place. So literally anybody going into servitude would actually, after 7 years, be sent home with everything that they've collected in up till that point, you know, and they'll be able to go back to their own city and start again. And that's it. It wasn't a terrifying, a bad thing. It was literally a blessing, right? And then essentially, you know, it got taken and twisted by this other bloodline, who turned it into slavery, who turned that idea. Which is why, if you look at the beginning of slavery, at the beginning of it, it wasn't that same slavery. It was indentured servitude, which would last for 7 years. But again, it got changed after Bacon's Rebellion, when all these indentured servants, basically, all the indentured servants basically revolted, and it wasn't just you know, the dark-skinned ones; it was the pale-skinned indentured servants as well. So they all joined up and they fought against the masters, and killed a load of them as well. And I think it lasted for a whole year. So after that, they created this idea of race, and they literally gave the darker skinned ones the hard, onerous work. They gave the lighter skinned ones the overseers jobs, and they created this divide, where the poor white people, the poor pale skinned people, even though they're still not part of the master class and never will be, yeah, they were given more rights than the darker ones. So it literally created that, so that they would never join forces again and fight against the masters. That's where.
I find all of it so fascinating, because it's more of a Pandora's box, isn't it? You've gone down the rabbit hole even deeper, and it's like the more deep you go, the more you realize that what we're taught, in essence, is wholly inaccurate. And that we have been taught a narrative, because no matter what path we seem to go down, we seem to find ourselves going, why isn't this tallying up with what we're taught? Is that common thread that goes through it all?
That's it. I mean, this system is basically this illusion. It's a whole illusion that falls apart under any scrutiny. Yeah, it's a big, grand house of cards that looks really impressive until you start pulling at a card, and then the whole thing falls down. You know, I keep giving this example of Disney World. because it literally is. It's this beautiful picture that's been painted in front of our eyes, and you know, if you actually took the time to actually look behind the picture, you're going to see it's all dirty and grubby. But most of us don't have the time to, you know, to have a look, because we're kept occupied and busy. Occupation and busyness, you know.
Constantly.
Mm.
You know,
And
I've seen it myself.
sorry.
There's no time for you to do anything off of the plan that they have for you. And as soon as you do go and skew off of that, you start to get socially ridiculed.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not doing the keeping up with the Joneses, as I call it, a lot of people say that. But you know, if you're not doing the working to go for your little package holiday and telling your neighbour down the road and your mates, oh, I've been on that holiday, they want you in that loop, so that you can't get too far off the roundabout.
Yeah.
You do, you'll get some perspective on the situation and go, hold on a minute, wait a minute, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can't really sort of blame the Muggles too much, really, because, you know, learning about the truth is a hard journey. Now, I a long time ago I realised that when you find out a truth, you end up going through the 5 stages of grief. I don't know if you remember what those are. Let's see if I remember. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance.
Yeah.
Okay. So literally, you know, when you talk to some, you know, a Muggle about something, the very first thing is denial. They'll deny it all, and it's no, you're rubbish. You don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah, and that's the first step. Most people don't go any further than that step, but if they do, then they get to the angry stage, and I've come across quite a few of the people get to the angry stage, you know. And again, most people don't go past that because, you know, it's too much.
Exactly.
But once you get to the acceptance, you know, that's when your eyes are opened, and that's when you can do something about it. And it's not really about going out and protesting or going out and doing stuff and, you know, shouting from the rooftops, being that crazy guy in a science fiction films, running down the street going, you know, they're here, look at the skies. You know, it's not about that. It's about changing you, changing the way you approach this, because that's the biggest power that we all have. We change ourselves, and we can watch everyone around us start to change.
Right.
You know, because of our effect on everyone else. You know, I keep saying that. You know, we're much bigger in this world than we think. We've got much more effect on this world than we think. You know, the whole of this entertainment and you know, TV and all this stuff is about trying to show you that you're worthless, you're nothing. You know, your voice doesn't matter. You're one in you know, a couple of billion. You know, or yeah, is it trillion now? Is it trillion? How many people? Billion.
I
Sorry.
rarely pay attention. I don't know how we're quantifying these numbers. How do we know how do we know how many people populate this plane?
Yeah, we've all. I've had a chat with my son about this, and neither of us really believe there's 7 billion people here. No, it's ridiculous. He made a really good point, saying, you know, if this group of people have been so successful at doing all this stuff that they've done, how is it that now near the end they're so far off? You know, 500 million they're trying to get us down to. How come at the end with they're 7 billion people off? I don't think so. You know.
Exactly. And that's one thing that really does stick with me, because I'm like, if we can not be categorically confident that these numbers are accurate, then how categorically confident can we be about anything that we've been told and shown and see?
Well, the thing that you know, we're starting to see is we can't be sure of anything that we've been told. You know, whenever anyone says, "Well, everyone knows that," I think that's when we're gonna, you know, have to take a closer look at it. You know, because that's, you know, that's I think what they've hidden a lot of stuff behind all these things that everybody knows, you know. I think that, you know, that's an oxymoron really, because when it's something that everybody knows, it means that you don't really know.
Precisely.
You know?
And then it's, what do we know? Oh, I know. We know what we've been taught. There we go.
Yeah.
That was chestnut. Because that's all it is. I used to think I knew a lot, Dave. I used to think I was a right little brain box. And then when I woke up, I just was like, yeah, where did I learn all those things? And why was I taught those things? Why was I taught those things and not those things? And like, I'm not saying anything new under the sun. I'm hoping there's a lot of people in the chat room that resonate with this, because you do start off by laughing it off. And then it's like, you sit there going, yeah, but... And then everything starts falling apart. It is like the stitching's been unpicked, and then it just goes, and everything falls apart. And you're sitting there going, oh, no, why they were laughing at everything being a conspiracy now. It's because it is.
15 years ago, I would have been my worst nightmare. Yeah.
Me too.
I was a know-it-all, you know. I was like,
comes to
yeah,
mind. Yeah.
You know, I'd be talking about, of course the world's round, don't you? You've got to be stupid, yeah. And I'd have been just one of these globe muggles that you know, thought
I don't
you
know if I'd have been a troll. I don't know if I'd have taken it to the point where I'd be like actively trolling people that were talking about it, but I think I would have given it a wide berth. Like I did. I went for a very long time giving it a wide berth, just thinking, I know space is space, but that's a reach. But
troll.
I don't know why. Now when I look back at it, I don't even know why I thought it was such a reach. I was like, listen, I know that and I know this, and I clocked that and I clocked this, and yeah, we didn't go to the moon. It's all fake, but what have you not been taking? I am.
Now, I wouldn't have been a troll, but I would have had one conversation about it where I'd just be laughing at the person and taking a piss out of them, and then never think about it again. That would have been it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but trolls, I mean, it becomes obvious that anybody who spends so much time talking about a subject, you know, talking against a subject, has an agenda, because any normal person would be like, you know, it's like me going on to the Elvis is Alive forums and trolling the people there. Why would I do that? I don't really give a toss with whether Elvis is alive or not, you know. And even if he was alive, I still wouldn't really care very much, you know. So why would I go on there and laugh at the people talking about it, you know, just because I don't happen to believe it myself, you know? So you know that these active trolls are there for a reason. Are they're paid to be there for a reason, you know. So you know that we're on the right track when, you know, you start a channel and automatically you get assigned trolls, you know.
Yeah, you do. And I'm starting to see that in really all aspects of kind of public speaking or doing anything in the public. I see that anything from, like, I say small time public speakers like myself having trolls, and athletes having trolls, musicians have trolls, stupid MSM reporters have trolls. Everyone that does things in public will have some form of trolls. I was spending some time with my dad over the last couple of weeks, and even he said, like, people have bought tickets to gigs just to come up to him and tell him how they didn't like something he said in an interview. He said, what can you do? You know, you can only please some of the people some of the time, not all of the people all of the time. If you were trying to please all of the people all of the time, would you really be you? I can only be me. And I know a lot of things I do rub people up the wrong way, but I can't help being who I am. I'm trying to grow as a person in my own personal pursuit of truth. I'm trying to not be where I was there, because if I'm there still, I'm stagnant and I haven't moved on. I haven't tried to adapt myself to adhere to my pursuit of truth. I look back at some of the things I was talking about maybe 10 months ago, and I can see a clear transition in my use of language, or my non-use of certain language. Now I've left certain words out of my sentences over time, like teaching myself to not have a lisp. Once upon a time I had a lisp, and now I don't, because I went through a period of time as a child where I kind of kicked it out of myself. And
Did you really?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Oh, I just said that, but yeah. I started actually getting rid of my lisp in assembly when we were singing songs.
Mm.
That was when I started, because no one was looking at me and everyone was looking at the projector, and I'm like trying to get through it. But yeah, about 3 or 4 years it took me to completely get rid of it. And if my friends had said, "Oh, you're not you now," I'd be like, "I don't need to be that. I can grow." Once
Oh,
upon a
yeah.
time, a seed was a seed, and once it turns into a sunflower, all the other flowers don't go, "But you were a seed once, and stay like that." And it's like,
That doesn't make any sense, you know. How, you know, why aren't you still you if you've overcome some of your limitations, you know? I think that it makes you more of you know.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
So I really do feel that for a lot of people that we're growing as individuals, and I think that's how we grow. If one asks one questions and you know the answer that it's not, maybe, and you've got evidence for that, it's worthwhile answering. You might not be able to give them what it is, but you might be able to help someone with what it's not, you know. And that's really what I'm trying to focus on, just removing the variables off the table.
I guess I overcame my fear of public speaking. Would you believe I was so absolutely shy that you know, doing something like this would have been a nightmare, you know. And still, I had problems because okay, I'll draw attention to it now, but when I talk, I guess I stutter a lot, or not stutter, but I repeat things, or I will say a lot, or or you know. And I know that about myself because I know that came from when I was really terrified of public speaking.
Yeah.
But I
Anyone who
got
went to school with me knows that I was not that person at school. I was like the person at the back, just not putting their hands up. Didn't want to have the attention on me at all. And I
mhm.
think like yourself and like anyone else who's pressed go live and gone out in public and done something, and there's a lot of people that have done this. For me, I remember thinking to myself, I've got so much to say, but I didn't want to end up being like this, because I know I don't like this. I don't actually enjoy it. It's painful sometimes,
Mm.
because I literally feel like a little 7-year-old kid who just wants to, don't know what to say now. Why? Because the camera's on and it's like, why? And it's almost like, no, it's not the same now. The camera's there. Why are you going to say anything different? No, it just feels like lights, camera, action. I don't. And you do feel like a bit of a performing seal. What I did the first time, I ended up going, oh look, there's a chat room. Hello, hi.
Mm.
So now what do I want to
Now
say?
what?
Yeah, and yet a year and a bit later, I'm here, and I'm still a little bit like, when I go on camera, there's a lot of things that I've brought baggage with me from my sleep life, baggage that can't just magically go because I'm awake now and I'm in a different point in my life, and I now can do things that I didn't do before because I've got more guts, more courage, more self-confidence, less anxiety than I suffered with before. But unfortunately, there's still clouds from when I was asleep. And I feel like there's certain things in life that happen to us, well, that happened to me, that I've just had to learn to live with. I've not, there is going to be no forgetting about it, because it's going to be there for the rest of my life. And it doesn't change the fact that I've got passionate to the point where I'm here now doing this with you, because it's just a natural progression for me. And I feel like that part that you said, there's a starter that comes out new. There may be idiosyncrasies and nuances with me that my friends and family can clock because I'm on camera, and they'll point it out to me. My dad's pointed things out to me, and my
Mm.
friends and family have pointed things out to me where I'm like, really? I didn't notice I was doing that. Oh, am I doing that? So it's like,
Well, you have a YouTube channel long enough, people are going to point some of those things out to you anyway. How many people? I've lost count of the number of people who keep saying that I say yeah a lot after things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah, I've just seen something in the chat room there. I'm going to show everybody. Ricardo just said something great in the chat room that really resonates with me. He said, I grew up shy and I feel more like an extrovert now, and grown out of my shyness to a certain degree. And that's really where I am. I'm not that extrovert person, but I do feel like a bit of an extrovert, going, hello, and guess what? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm on camera doing it, not just privately with my friends. I'm on camera with people I don't know. I've never met before, met them for the first time, having conversations with people. And there is something to say with what Ricardo is saying there. It does feel like one's being one sort of extrovert.
I can tell you how I got out. I started to get out of that introvert thing when I was about 14 or 15. I'd go to parties. I was that person who'd be, in the corner next to the wall, trying to figure out what to do with his hands, and one day I was at my worst nightmare. It was a party where I didn't know anybody. And, there was nobody to talk to because I didn't know anyone. So again, I was stuck against the wall. And then something occurred to me that, hang on, nobody knows who I am. So I can be anybody. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be James Bond. So I just pretended to be James Bond, and I just walked up to people. I was like, "Hi, I'm Dave Murphy," or James Bond. And I had the ding 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 music going in the back of my head, and I was just acting as James Bond, Sean Connery, James Bond, and I had a whale of a time. And I got invited to all these other parties, and I'd go to parties as somebody else every time, and I had great fun, And I realized that it's just all your limitations are all due to the way you think. You just happen to have got yourself into thinking, and you can change the way you think really, really, really easily. And that's all it is. It's just a tiny shift in perception and perspective, and all of a sudden what's a limitation is now a strength, and you can overcome anything. And that's one of the things I help people with, just by changing their perception on stuff.
I love that. What do you think when we go on tour? What are your thoughts about Malenko and the difference between when you first went on Malenko to when you'll be on? Like, there's a lot that's happened since then, Dave. There's a lot. I'm not saying almost everything's happened since then, but there's like a truckload of stuff. Do you feel that he's going to be quite surprised with where it's at, or do you think he's kind of under the radar, followed what's been going on?
Well, he was at the time. He was actually following what was going on anyway. That's why I ended up on his show in the first place, because he'd been following it. But I think the difference for me will be that there'll be a lot more under my belt to actually just to present to him, because I was just I think what was it, 3-4 years ago? Yeah, 4 years ago. We had all these points, but we hadn't really delved into such detail with them all. I can go back and go over the same points that I brought out to him, and just literally load up tons and tons of evidence and detail just on each one of those points. So I think it will be I think it'd be a bit more relaxed, because I think I was a bit stressed there at the time. It's going to be more relaxed because I know so much more about what what I was talking about.
I can't wait to see the difference between the now and that, because it is going to be a wonderful contrast, right? The interview you had then, and it's one of the main things I've been thinking about actually for the last few weeks is how his audience is going to perceive not only that they may have not thought when they initially saw that first interview that there was actually much longevity to the things that you were stating, because they were so far-fetched from where they would be that X amount of time later has gone on, and it's not like, yeah, we're scratching and clutching at straws here, guys. It's like the wealth of information is quite possibly overwhelming at this point. There's untold observations and proof of the fact that we're not living on what we're taught.
What you got to understand about Malenko is his show is pretty, like, one of the best known shows in that whole area, and not just in Macedonia, but all the Yugoslavian countries. All those countries around, they all watch that show. And apparently, I was told by the producer, 11 million people watched that show.
It's not a
So
small amount of people, is
no,
it?
it's not a trivial amount of people. It's just that here in here in the West, as it were, we don't know very much about what's going on in Macedonia or the former Yugoslavian countries. We don't hear about it. So but apparently it was massive, and I got lots and lots of Croatian and Serbian and new friends out of that interview, because it was so widely received.
That's wonderful. Hopefully it's going to be just as widely received this time. I just want to refresh everybody in the chat room that's watching. You're watching allegedly Dave and myself talking a little bit more about Pursuit of Truthiness, and also telling you about the Globalized tour for this year. We are trying to raise money for the European part of the tour by selling advertising space on the side of the camper to circumnavigate the censorship that is going online just now. The tour is going to be going over 15,000 miles almost. It's going to be a non-static, basically moving billboard. The advertising ranges from £200 to £2,000. That's right, £2,000. And we are trying to get everybody to look at who their favourite channels are, who they want to support in getting around that censorship, and facilitating and helping that said channel reach their donation, their advertising amount, and hopefully they'll get that advertising. Now, myself, Robin has just explained it to me. Dave, this is the transparency of this, and I hope everyone enjoys listening to what I'm about to say. Dave, are we right now asking for GoFundMe for your channel to get on the camper, or are we doing GoFundMe just for the tour? I don't. Answer the postcard, please, everyone. No. I'm not sure. I'm trying to. As I'm saying this, I'm like, obviously, guys, I don't work with scripts. I'm just ad-libbing here and giving to you as I see it. I understand that we've all been given the opportunity, and I'm just saying this for people that are just coming in and haven't watched any of the previous pieces. If this is the first you've heard about this, then pin your Legos back and use the 4:1 ratio. The tour is commencing on the 29th of August. The tour is leaving the UK on the 16th of September. I can't stress that enough to everybody that's listening now and on the playback. That camper is leaving the UK on the 16th of September, and it is embarking on the European section of the tour. Now, in order for that European section of the tour to maintain and go ahead, we need everybody to donate. However, we wanted to make that more efficient this time. And that is why the advertising vinyl is going on. The advertising, and I'm on this app, so I'm unfortunately not able to share the pictures, but the camper van will have advertising that ranges from 200 through to, am I right, 400, and then on to 2,000. Is there 3 or 4 price ranges? 4 tiers or 3? Help me out here, guys. Chat room on the ready. Adam, double, Robin. And the first one is, thank you, Karen. That's the link for Dave's channel. What I'm asking for, right? I know it's 200, and I feel there's a 400 in there. I love that. I love you all. Robin, lifting the lid. That's brilliant. So I'm just going to say to you now, there are about 3 or 4 tiers that range from 200 to 2,000 pounds. The smallest ones are on the side, and obviously there's legalities on where these vinyl bits there's obviously road legalities. You can't have certain loud things on the side of the camper, so they're going quite high. The mid-range ones are going like in between the axle. The big one at the back is going over the overhang, and then we've got the back spread. So I don't know about you, Dave, but I for one, I want on the back of that camper van. I don't want to see Mark Sargent. Who wants to see Mark Sargent on the back of that camper van when you could see the Really Woke show, or some of us, like stuck in traffic? Like, no disrespect, Mark, but I think we look better. And Paul, I love you to bits. Adam, I love you to bits. Listen, may the good fight commence, right? I would really love to see the Really Woke show and a few of the UK counterparts on the back of that camper. And if that could be possible, that'd be great.
I think it would be more appropriate, should we say, to have to be better represented. The UK being better represented on the camper van, because it is the European tour.
Any elbows against the Americans or anything. I love you all and everything. But you guys can go on the side. It's not an us and them thing, but we want the biggest one. We want the bigger. Why wouldn't we? But like, bigger is better. Okay, it's big camper. Back of it is massive. And think about it. It's almost like you're getting 3 birds fed with 1 grain. The Really Woke Show doesn't just consist of one person. You see, we've had loads of guest ons already. We've had loads of people on already, and Roxanne's done Pursuit of Truthiness, so we can kind of like get more bang for our money. There's a lot more channels that are involved in that, and I'm just trying to sway you all to just kind of go for us on that one. I'm hoping to make a personal appeal to you all now. Like, don't donate to them. And Paul's not made it fair anyway. Paul's matching the donations. I'm like, Dolly, what are we doing with that? That's not fair. And Dolly's over there. She can't hear me. I think she's tuned me out. Dolly. Oh, Dolly can't hear me. She sat right there and she just tuned me out. So I'm like, Paul is matching the donations. Yeah. He's doing, for every donation you make, I'm going to make a donation up to £1,000. And I'm like, yeah, we're like small channels. We're not going to beat that. So I'm urging all of you that are viewing to like and share. And if you can find a way to get us on the back of that camper van, I assure you, we will bring you off every step of the way through Europe. You will not be disappointed. Yeah. And there is a way for you to do that. If you go through to the GoFundMe, you can select various channels as your team member, and then that will work for them. Am I correct in saying that? Because I don't have a Paul on the Plane Global Eye GoFundMe thing set up. Okay, it says, I'm sorry, now I've taken over your live. Sorry, Dave. When you donate, please choose Roxanne as your team member. I'm not cheating here or anything, guys. And there it is there. So just lifting the lid, put the link there. Okay, so, but don't pay attention to anything that Adam's put in the chat room. Okay, disregard I love you, Adam. Just ignore everything. All of those links, Karen, all of you, just ignore them. And if you did click them, just unbookmark them now and click that link. And just remember who your team members are, guys. Okay.
He's put my one in now, apparently. I didn't know I had one. But...
Okay, all right. I'll share yours as well then. All right, there you go. Right. And that's enough.
That's it.
Hey, that's enough. That's enough of that. And we'll just go back to my one. No, I'm only joking. So as you can see, Lifting the Lid and Jason throughout this whole live feed have put a ton of links. Adam's put a couple in there too for like some guy called Paul. He's got a show that I do sometimes with him on True Frequency. Never mind all that anyway. Back to the main thing. He's put our ones in there. And you know me, I'm just being cheeky. I love you all. I love all of you. Listen, there was no, it's all banter. But yeah, like click the link. It's banter, but click the link. Yeah. And with that being said, I'm gonna go. There you go. You don't have one, nor does Roxanne. Just pick the link. Pick the link. Okay, Lifton, I'm gonna pop that up there. Okay. I don't know who asked the question, but there's the answer. You don't have one. I don't know who asked, but you don't have one, and neither do I. Just pick the name and donate. Okay, pick the name. And apparently there's names there. I have not managed to see this yet, but this is awesome. Pick the name and get your donations in there. Just imagine the Really Woke Show. Myself, Dolly, Double, the guests, all in the background. Wicked design. Everyone who's been involved in fact, you know what, we could even put in some awesome moderators in there and advertise them in the little graphic as well, and just really get round. No worry to be sorry, Mark. No one wants to see you on the back of the camper, babe. They want to see us, all right? So I'm glad you had a nice shower, but don't worry about putting any of your links in here, because they're all going to put us on the back of the camper. Just give up the fight and go for the side. That's all I've got to say for you, Mark. All right? Okay. What?
I think Mark missed it when you said he's too ugly to be on the van. On the.
It's all love. It's all love. Love it. Oh, Adam, I love you for that. Thank you so much. Come on, guys. Let's make sure that Roxanne the Globalist and I gets a big sticker on the. Oi, you. Listen, that wasn't how I thought you were. Oh, got used there. Well, go on, you've had it now. Go on. I'm on my own here, aren't I? It's done now. I can click it off, but someone could pause it and have you a little 5 seconds there, Adam. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Watch how I'm going to spam your chat next time you go live. Watch the spamming. Everyone's getting spammed. Spam time. I am Real Media for the back. Listen, a couple of them guys might be from the UK, yeah? But listen, like, who wants I am Real Media? You're a side gang. Your logo and everything, it looks like swoop inside. Swoop inside. We're on the back. We're on the back. Mugged off. Mugged off. We're all getting mugged off now, innit? I think let's have the season of spamming. Let's all just make it our mission to spam each other's chats. Spam, 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 spam. Janine's just tuned me back in. Right. Okay. Houston, I think we've got a problem. I think so. Yeah. We've got trolls. We've got trolls.
We've got trolls.
Oh, we're getting trolled. Sorry. Yeah, I've got a situation. We've got an emergency situation going on the corner of the room there. If any of you've just vaguely heard Dolly over in the background, we're getting trolled. But we always get trolled. I mean, this is part and parcel of Wow. Yeah, trolled. So sorry to do that, but Dolly's literally just off camera now, just going. Now she's dancing. She's like. Sorry about that, guys. That was just a little bit of a momentary screw. What's going on there? So yeah, very few trolls in here, but they're working very hard behind the scene trolling us out here, which is quite funny, really, because we're on here trying to do this and Dolly's keeping on top of that. So thank you so much to everyone that's been here. Dave, is there anything you want to? We should do this again. I've enjoyed this.
We've got another hour.
We've got another hour, Dolly. Woo! We've got another hour. Another hour of live streaming. Yes. Mine's 2 sugars, babe. Yeah, we've done the first hour of our live, and now we're live now. Yeah, we've got how many people have we got watching us, Dave?
I have no idea. Let's have a look.
How many people are watching? We've got 170 people watching, Dolly. Woo! Do you know Dolly hasn't been to sleep, guys?
She hasn't.
Dolly hasn't slept since yesterday morning.
Well, say hello, Dolly.
Come say hello, Dolly. Don't have to come on camera. Just come in and then we can hear you.
Yeah, she has to come on camera. Get on camera.
They're like, get on camera, Dolly. Yeah. Don't worry. The family's there. They're all in the chat room. Kenny's here too, guys.
That's not Dolly.
Please put your hands in. Yeah, look. Wow.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Oh no.
Yeah. We've got 170 odd people watching, and we've had some awesome input in the chat room so far, haven't we, Dave?
Apparently so. Lots is flying along, actually.
There you go. Saying hi.
Oh,
there you go.
Who might come on after?
Well, then this is good. We're an hour in. So for all of you, as we go through some bits and pieces, if you want to get yourself a drink, go and relieve yourself in the bathroom with shishis or anything like that, go ahead, because we've got another hour to go.
What's the shishi business?
Shishi. Okay, so my auntie lives in Hawaii, and Hawaiians call wee-wees shishis.
I should go refresh myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
They call them shishis. So in Hawaii, girls go for shishi.
Oh, okay.
And she's a grandma, and the other word that I called tutu. Like a tutu, that's Hawaiian for you. So, but yeah, that's why she always used to say it, and it's just stuck with me. So if you hear me saying I'm going shishi, I'm going bathroom. I want to know how these things. I'm not touching my computer, and it's saying, you know what? Okay, I love this app. So let me go to the chat room and let me get some feedback for you all. And I want to know what you guys want to know. You've got allegedly Dave here and myself. We've got another hour. I don't want to be selfish and just plow through what I want to plow through, because you already know I can talk for England. I'll be on here for 6 hours, and Jason will be like, you guys only needed to do 2 hours. And it's like, well, it's getting around 11 o'clock at night now, Dave. We should probably go sleep, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and there's so much I could talk about if so.
If you guys have got time and you're all right being here with us, we're up for indulging you a little bit. So, yeah, he's close at Steve. He's nearly a 4-year-old Bichon. I wish he was still a puppy. I may be able to unlearn some of the bad habits he's picked up. And there are some bits. Do you know what? The chat room's gone down so far, Dave. I had it primed on certain things. I know the chat room has asked quite a few subjects that you've gone through already that they wanted to hear more about. And we've got the links for the tour in the chat, and we will revisit talking about that maybe in the last 10 minutes of this stream. We'll wrap it up, just kind of refreshing you all on the information and prompting you to go further down the stream. And then afterwards, I will make sure that absolutely all of that information and all of the links in their entirety will be put into the description. And if there is anything that we can facilitate for you, please don't hesitate to put your comments in the comments section, and we'll be happy to go back and forth with you. And if I don't know, I will only at someone that I think can help you more, because I haven't got all the answers. A lot of people have asked me about the tour, and there is a lot of answers that I can't give because that's with Jason. So yeah, if there is anything that we can answer, even about ourselves on the tour, as we get closer, Dave, you'll probably work out where and when as we get closer to the time on where exactly you'll be joining the tour. And we'll
I think it's actually Italy. I think it'll be Italy because I think that's where you're going to be on the 8th. I think I might see if I can join you. I think it's near one of the days off, the scheduled days off. So I might sort of join on the day off or something, and fresh for the next day.
Perfect. That sounds absolutely perfect to me. So if you're right, I do actually need to go for a shishi. Can I leave you talking to the chat room? Chat room, I'm going to leave you with Dave, the awesome Dave, and just let me go to the bathroom, and I'll be straight back. Is that all right?
All right. That's fine. And what I might actually do, because I haven't seen anything to jump on in the chat room, but what I might actually do is I might actually show, maybe give a little sneak preview of one of my talks that I'll be giving at one of the, I think I can't remember which conference it's going to be, either the Amsterdam one or the UK one. But, when I was thinking about doing a talk, I thought, I need to have something new to bring to the table. So I was thinking about the solar system. Yeah, the solar system. We've all been taught what the solar system's about. But again, this whole thing is about asking questions. Yeah, the point is, as soon as you ask questions, that's when you're gonna start to see the problems with the answers you've been given. So I'm going to see if I can actually share a screen here. I'm going to have to add an extension, but okay, when that comes up, I'll. Okay, well, as soon as this thing adds, I'm going to add to Chrome. Add extension. So we're doing this on the fly right now. Adding to Chrome right now. Okay. Well, while it's adding to Chrome, I'll look at the chat. Somebody's asked me if I still do urine therapy. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So, am I ever coming to New York? I'll go to New York if I'm asked to go. I do everything for free. So. So I can't just fly over there if I want to. If somebody invites me over to do something, then I'll go to New York. But at this point, I've got no reason to go there. Okay, I can't see any other questions. What's my take on aliens? Well, my take on aliens is there's no such thing as aliens per se, as we've been told. They are actually fallen angels and demons. Now, that might sound really crazy to some people, but when you find out who was behind the event that brought aliens into public consciousness, which was the Roswell incident, you'll find that behind that were two people, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. Both of them were disciples of Aleister Crowley. And you just have to look at Aleister Crowley's book, where he drew a picture of one of the demons he conjured up, and it looks like an alien grey. Excuse me. So you got the two disciples of Aleister Crowley, who went on after Aleister Crowley died, went on to do their own version. I think it was called Babylon Working or something. Their own version of conjuring up demons. And then all of a sudden you have these same demons that Aleister Crowley drew appear as aliens. And funnily enough, in Aleister Crowley's book, he says that throughout history, they've been known as all sorts of things like demons and jinn and genies and nature spirits and fairies and whatever. And he finishes by saying, in the past they've been known as these things. In the future, they'll be known as something else. So now in this culture, they're known as aliens. And it's funny that these aliens, they're still doing exactly what the fallen angels and demons were doing back in Noah's day. That is, collecting sperm and eggs and impregnating women and getting offspring, which is exactly what they were doing in the old days, in the time of Noah. So yes, it's there's nothing new under the sun. Aliens are demons. Sorry, I talk too much anyway. Dave Murphy, no, the atmosphere is extended as far as the moon. Should the ISS planets and astronaut suits show some flutter? These spacesuits. This is slightly off the topic, but the spacesuits. I was at the Science Museum. Yeah, I was at the Science Museum the other day with I was filming a little student documentary, and they were getting me to go around looking at all the exhibits and making a few comments about what I was seeing. And I stood in front of the I guess an astronaut spacesuit, and there was just some guy, random guy from a member of the public standing there, and I was just saying, how does that little thing, costume made out of cloth and rubber and an aluminium foil, how does that protect against radiation and the vacuum of space? And this guy, a random guy, just said, "Oh yes, well it's got a rubber suit underneath," and I was like, well, now what wasn't on the video is me saying, well, did you know that NASA's got a vacuum chamber that simulates, I guess, the lowest level of vacuum that space might have, and I think it's like minus 10 to the minus 6 torr, where space, I think, is supposedly 10 to the minus 16, and it's not like times 2.5 or something to get 16. It's orders of magnitude. Yeah, so it's not just a direct multiplication. It's like orders of magnitude more of a vacuum. And for that vacuum chamber to protect that vacuum against the 1 atmosphere of the atmosphere, it needs 2 feet of concrete, a reduced pressure gap, then I guess another foot or so of concrete, and a steel enclosure, just to protect against a lesser vacuum. Yeah. So how does a cloth suit, even with a rubber thing inside, rubber, what to say, rubber, what's the word? Gone out of my head. With this rubber suit and a few layers of tin foil, how does that protect against 10 to the minus 16 torr? It's impossible. No way. And then when you find out that they actually tried putting somebody in a vacuum chamber in one of these suits, and the guy passed out before they could get anywhere near a decent vacuum. Yeah. So no, it's impossible. Anyway, just got sidetracked there. So I wanted to actually I wanted to actually just share a little thing that I was put together for one of these talks, and it's about the solar system. So I'm going to do the share screen. Share screen is there. That's okay. Entire screen. Share. So hopefully, okay, I can't tell, but okay, so I'm apparently sharing the screen, so I'm gonna look from here. Slideshow. Where's everything slow from current screen? Actually, I'm going to go back one. Right. Ooh. So this is the solar system as we're told it is. Yeah. So all the measurements of the solar system, you know, assume that the solar system is just like this. It's talking about the plane of the ecliptic. So all the planets essentially rotate round in this plane of the ecliptic, all at one. You know, there are a couple of exceptions. Apparently, Pluto and Mercury apparently are slightly off, but everything, all the measurements we're taking, assumes and measures that all the planets lie along this one plane. Okay, so it's interesting. We can. Oh, okay, I'm going to actually go backwards a second. Sorry. No, this is me trying to come up with something ad hoc. Okay, I was going to show what the solar system is supposed to be doing, but let's imagine that this is the solar system here. You have the sun, you know, attached to a string, and all the planets are strung around it, again attached to elastic bands. Okay, so when I lift the string, obviously the planets will eventually move. But the point is that the speed of gravity is actually the speed of light. So if I was to pull on that sun, okay, it would take, and if you look down here, 3.2 minutes before Mercury will start to feel it and start to move. And obviously Mercury wouldn't move instantly at 480,000 miles an hour. It would actually build up to moving at 480,000 miles an hour to match the sun. Right? Then 6 minutes later, Venus will start moving. 8.3 minutes later, Earth starts moving, and so on and so on. So what you'd get is essentially a cone of, you know, as the sun moves, there'll be a cone of planets behind the sun. Okay, it's not going to be that flat plane, right? Because as they keep telling us, the speed of gravity is the speed of light. So I think when you look at the bottom, it says Pluto will be 5.5 hours before it actually feels the change of gravity. So it wouldn't start moving till about 5.5 hours later, and obviously it's going to take probably about the same time to actually accelerate to the same sort of speed as the sun. Now, one other thing is that this isn't moving. Why isn't this moving? Okay. This is, oh, there we go. There we go. So it's just very slow. So when you do make that kind of move, because the sun is pulling on these planets, there'll be an automatic kind of movement generated towards, you know, the I guess the center of pull, really. So all those planets will be start to be forced into the center. So, you know, after a certain time, all the planets will actually settle down to actually being dragged in a line behind the sun. So, you know, that it just I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but you know, just following their sort of oh, no, it's going on to something else. Following that their methodology here, and I'll show you what. And we've all seen this. This is apparently what
They can't see. Yeah, they can't see it. I'm trying to do it. I've just come back in.
Oh.
Because it's going, they can't see your screen. Your screen sharing, but the audience can't see it.
I can't see it.
No.
Oh, okay. It says
Right.
you're sharing.
It's all right. It was my fault because I don't know how to use StreamYard. Can you do everyone in the chat room saying, Dave, can you start again? Can you just rewind and start again?
Oh, good grief. Okay, I'll stop
I'm
sharing.
going to do it now. Chat room in 3, 2, 1. Tell me. No, start. Do your screen share again, Dave.
Okay.
Okay, and let me see if I can do this.
Oh, so you've got to do
understand there's a good few people in the chat room that understand what you're saying as well, and there's a lot of other people that are going, please just rewind. So if you start screen sharing,
okay, I'll start again.
Gladly facilitate that. I think I know how to do it.
Okay, share. Well, I couldn't tell if I was sharing. So, oh, now I am. So, okay. So I'll start again. Shall I? I'll start again. Yeah, everyone can see it. I'll take it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what I was trying to say is, okay. So, let me play that from here. I won't play. Oh well, I will actually from current slide. So, this is the model of the solar system we're told is going on.
We're still seeing your screen share screen.
Oh, can't see it now.
Yeah.
You still can't see it.
We're still on your Streamlabs screen.
Okay. I mean, perhaps it doesn't like PowerPoint. Right. So you can see the PowerPoint slide now.
No, not yet. All we can see is the screen share screen.
Oh.
Can you click your other tab?
My other tab.
That's open.
Tab.
You've got.
Because what I'm seeing on my screen and what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're seeing and what I'm seeing are different things apparently.
Hold on. How am I? Need help. Hold on. I'm not. I've clicked something called. Oh, hold on. This is so funny. No, that's not done it. So how do I? Guys, I'm really trying to work this one out. It doesn't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
hold on. I'll get there. There's a few options for me to choose. Just trying to see if I've got the wrong. That's that one. That is that one. Now, why is that me?
Right, it's odd. I'm now looking and I can't see my screen either.
Echo screen. Okay. Yeah, if there's any tech gurus in the chat room, I'm using StreamYard right about now, and yeah, now Dave's not there at all.
Oh, now I'm back.
Yeah, and I've got my screen. It says allegedly Dave's stream removed from stream. Okay, so it says allegedly Dave's screen add to stream.
Yes, so I guess you picked that one.
Yeah, but when I am sharing my screen. Or is it?
Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't have to show this. You know.
So sorry, everybody. Yeah, it's presenting a big screen, but it's black right now.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, never mind. I was just going to give a little preview of what I was going to present.
And as you guys know, it's quite a new platform. We've not really got any experience with this platform, but so far it's been going good. But obviously, there's been a few little lumps and bumps here everywhere. And as I said, we've now got a different setup on the screen altogether than we had before. So I'm not even sure.
Oh, well, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, it was just that. Yeah, I put together a couple of things that you know I like to. I like to come up with something a bit different because at the end of the day, and I've said this before, we're kind of rehashing the same information because we don't have anything new to show really. So the best we can do at this point is refine what we've already found out.
Right.
And so I like to go in and find the common sense view of some of this stuff. Yeah, because you know, it's all very well talking about you know, equations and you know, refraction and all this, but most people resonate better with nuts and bolts things that people can grab hold of and go, yeah, look, oh, obviously that does that, you know, because it's obvious. Yes. So that's kind of way I like to go you know, towards things. So yeah, I put together a few I guess different slants on you know, what some of the things we already know. One of them is, and I think Geronism basically you know, crushed it already, but I wanted to make it even more obvious. It's this whole idea of this idea that people say to us, well, obviously you wouldn't feel the earth spinning because, you know, you're going round once every 24 hours, so you wouldn't feel it at all. And you know, to a certain point of view, that sounds quite reasonable, you know. So I show a picture. Oops, sorry, stay there. I show a picture of 3 kids on a roundabout, you know, 8 feet wide. Yeah. So if that roundabout was going round at you know, 20, you know, once every 24 hours, yeah, you would barely notice it. It would do something like 3/16 of an inch every minute. Okay, so you'd have to look really carefully to see it move. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say if that roundabout was a mile wide. Okay. So if it was a mile wide, those 3 kids on the outside, you'd see a move at 2.2 inches a minute. 2 inches a second, 2.2 inches a second. So it would literally go like this. So you'd obviously see it. Yeah. Now, if you sort of you make that roundabout 8,000 miles wide. So now that roundabout will be going at 1,500 feet a second. So those kids will be flung off so quickly. Right? But this is the crazy thing, you know. People think that just because, you know, 24 hours, you know, going around once every 24 hours has got to be really slow. But when you see it in real tangible terms, it's like crazy. And yeah, as I said, Geronism crushed it with this by talking about it in scientific terms, angular speed against linear speed. Yeah, great, that's brilliant. But for the man in the street who doesn't know angular speed from anything, yeah, it makes more sense if they think about a roundabout and kids sitting on a roundabout. And that's the way I like to approach things. So yes, it's when you look at it like that, it's obvious we would feel that we're going around in a, you know, spinning around on a ball. Yeah,
it's true. It's so true. So true. And the chat room is resonating with that as well. We've even got Carbon 888. The globe is the globe, you know, deception in its entirety. When you start unpicking it and looking at it, it does become ridiculous. I have often sat there and said to myself, how did I get to the point where I'm at now before I've even decided to take the time to look into this?
What actually gets me is when you get somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, I was a big fan. I was a real big fan of that guy. Yeah, at the time, you know, I was watching his Cosmos, and you know, every time we were on TV, I thought this guy is great. You know, he's really killing the science, and he's, you know. But then you listen to him, and you listen to him with open ears. Yeah. And on the one hand, he'll tell you that you can see ships going over horizon. You know, he's very, very clear about it. Ships disappear over horizon.
Yeah, he said it. He said it.
And then in the next breath, he'll say that you cannot see a curve from, I think it's 24 miles up, which is what Felix Baumgartner, that's the height Felix Baumgartner jumped from. He goes, that's 2 millimeters above a beach ball, and you cannot see curvature from that height. So how can you reconcile this contradiction? How can you not see a curve from 24 miles high, yet see a boat go over horizon 3 miles away? No.
Can't have it both ways, Dave. They can't have it both ways.
Have it both ways. No, you can't. And yet that's the thing. I would have 15 years ago. I would have gone with Neil deGrasse.
You can't see the curve from there.
Yeah.
It's flat.
That stuff is flat.
That stuff is flat.
Yeah, I often use his example when people say, "Oh, I've seen the curvature from a plane." And I'll tell them, well, Neil deGrasse says you can't see curvature from nearly 3 times that height, the height of a plane. So how can you see it from 3 times less? It's just, no, I'm sorry. You don't take it up with me. Take it up with mainstream science, who says you're a liar.
Yeah, and it's so true for so many of the things. It's just popped into my head again. I've got a flashback of the accelerometers. Again, you guys can't have it both ways. You can't say that it collaborates on that, but then you use it there and say it's collaborated where? On a ball? No. So you guys didn't think that one through, did you? And there's so many things. I have to say, shout out to my dad for having the confidence to actually do his first bit of ball taking before I left Glasgow. I won't say where we were and what we were doing, but we were somewhere and we needed some gaffer tape for something, and the guy brought the roll of gaffer tape and he says, "Do you know that they used this on the Apollo 13 mission?" And my dad went, he said, "Aye, the filter they used on the Apollo was round and it should have been square, so the gaffer took it up to come back to Earth." And my dad said, "Aye, but they didn't go to the moon and land then." He said, "Aye, Chris, we all know that, but that's what we're told." And I just thought, my dad's eyes were dancing when this guy brought up Apollo 13. I could see him. He's getting it. And the way the guy went, "Oh, of course, everyone knows we never landed on the moon. Come on, you didn't actually seriously think No, I was just saying, apparently they." And I just thought, wow, there's my dad having an interaction. And it surprised him because he was up for an argument. My dad thought he was going to go back and forth for like 20 minutes. And the guy disarmed him completely while going, "Yeah, nothing new under the sun here, buddy. I already know."
He should have said that the whole lunar land was made up of gaffer tape, essentially, because it is made up of tin foil, gold foil, and curtain rods. I was at the Science Museum looking at that thing, and they'd replicated it so exactly that on the back of it is like those cardboard panels, that are badly fitting. Yeah,
Pony springs to mind. Just a ramshackle setup. Oh, they'll buy it for now.
Yeah, but
for now. And then again, they do that ran out of time. They went Tesla. Well, that's less ramshackly. Hopefully, they'll buy that. There we go.
Let's put a car up in space.
They'll buy that one. They'll buy. I mean, honestly, they'll buy that.
Yeah,
it is like one big fat joke to them.
As I said, as soon as you start looking at it, stepping back and looking at it, it just becomes ridiculous.
Does.
So
it does. Like Ricardo said, the moon landing footage is funny when you look at all the holes. It is.
Oh, what's even
people anymore?
What's even funnier is when the mainstream come up to say to try and show us how it is absolutely not fake, yeah, and they'll say I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were talking about the shadow, the differences in the shadows, and they're trying to say, well, that does happen in real life. If one of the shadows is on a curve, it's the ground's uneven, so it looks like it's going in a different direction. And I showed a picture of these two shadows on an absolute flat surface. It's like, they're trying to use word magic. Yeah, it's the same word magic as stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Oh, my
Obviously, the person isn't resisting.
God,
Yeah.
That's just what we were speaking about this morning, wasn't it? About no, you're right. Yeah. So just about like that whole mentality of stop, 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 stop. There's so many words that we use in our everyday sentences, and we don't realize we're spouting them out unconsciously, constantly preventing the next bit moving forward, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to fully convey that, but there was a lot of simple one syllable words that we were talking about this morning that completely changed the direction of, well, we were more talking about frequencies and energies, but there's a negative connotation that comes with these punch words, because they do feel like swipes without being swear words, if you know what I mean.
That's what that whole language of creation video is about. It's how this word, this language is a weapon. It's weaponized language, and it's there to punch yourself in the gut every time you use it. You know, it's there to turn everything you say into the opposite of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Opposite. The opposite of everything else.
Yeah. It is the opposite of everything else in that sense. It is. It's right. It's like, I know they say in the script, as above, so below, the mirror, and
It's all the same thing.
yeah, forwards, backwards, they're in reverse. We're in. It's like a constant.
But that again is it's only one level of the deception. Yeah. So you know you're using this language and you want to say this, but it's coming out as that, right? And you can box that off and say, oh look, there's a deception. Yeah. But the real deception is you're not meant to be using this whole language anyway. Yeah. You use your language as a language of pictures. Yeah. And you know, when you think in pictures, that's when the language is powerful. You know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yeah, it's true. Right. So you can convey a whole a full emotional range of something with one picture, whereas you could use 1,000 words and still not, you know, convey it. So and I go back to the video. It's I go back to what's his name, Terence McKenna, when he says about when you take psychoactive drugs, you know, you start again thinking in pictures. And so that's the weirdness of the trip you get is you literally thinking in pictures, you know, getting ideas in picture form rather than in word form. And so that's why you can't convey it when you come out of the trip. You can't. Well, it was it was weird, and I can't really say it because there aren't words to convey it, because you know our way of perceiving thought, yeah, is infinite, but then words bring it down to a very small box that again doesn't actually capture the experience. So again, what I was trying to get across with my talk is that we're limited because we have this layer of language that stands between us and reality. And we can't ever get to the reality because we have to go through these word things, and it's deliberate. We were given these languages to lock us off and keep us in this really low state. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Low state of energy. Yeah.
And I can't wait till. Sorry.
I like the chat room saying, well explained. That was perfectly put. Absolutely.
Well, I can't wait for that moment because, you know, I think somebody actually asked this in the chat room and I never got around to it, but I think it was in Zephaniah that said, you know, at the end, we're going to be returned a pure language. And I believe it's Paleo-Hebrew, that language of pictures. And this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing with the kids, because they're sending, you know, texts to each other in pure emojis. Literally just a string of emojis, and everyone's going, you know, and understanding it, you know, because I guess, you know, it's still within us. You know, the language is still within us.
How to do that.
Mm.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Sorry?
sorry, you can't. She's just a bit here.
Got a
She's
sore mouth.
she's saying that you're more visual. You need the
Say, for
visual.
instance, if I was going to IKEA,
Yeah.
and I can put IKEA stuff up,
Uh-huh.
I don't read it. I just look at pictures and go, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like IKEA instructions, she just
That's
looks
why
at the
I draw a
pictures
lot.
and
Yeah,
does
yeah.
it.
I
And
think I'm
she doesn't
dyslexic.
need the drawing.
I don't, when people say things to me, I'm like, well, you draw me a picture, I don't understand it. I don't understand words. Have always been a bit like, draw me a picture. All right, yeah. When I'm crafting, people go, how do you do that? I go, oh, just go and look at that pit, and I understand it, and just go and do it. But if you try to explain in words, I'd be like, I don't get what you're saying.
You might need to explain it a different way,
Yeah,
and a different way, and you're just like, just give me the picture and I can do
give me
it.
a picture of that
Yeah.
tree. Oh yeah, tree. Right, yeah.
My dad always used to say that. He said, it's not that you don't understand, you just don't understand the way I've explained it. And like
Right.
Dolly said,
say you're stupid.
an image can't be misinterpreted.
No, I'm not stupid. It's the real way actually, but I thought it's not.
This is the thing, because you can learn to do something just by looking at it or watching it, or you can just you can look. Some people can look at a car for the first time and go, oh, okay, and be able to fix that car or take it apart because they can look at it and figure out what's going on. I did the same with computers. In 1969 for the moon landing, where there was a guy called Richard Burke. Back in those days, he was very famous. Okay, science guy, and he was explaining about the punch card computers that they were using. And I was 6 years old. I got it. I literally got it. So I made myself a punch card computer out of a cereal box, some knitting needles, and some index cards. Okay, so literally, it was like a whole load of cards, and there were numbers at the top, 2 rows of numbers, 1 to 10, and then 1 to 10, and I would cut holes above the numbers, and over 2 numbers, like a 3 and a 5. Yeah, the 3 on the top row and the 5 on the bottom row, I'd cut from the top down to the hole. Yeah. So I put all the cards into the cereal box, in the top, and they'd line up with holes on the outside of the cereal box. And I would say, okay, what's 3 times 5? Pull the lever, and it would let any cards that weren't being suspended drop. So the card that was cut all the way to the hole dropped down. It 15 on it. So it was a calculator, and then I could set a whole load of other cards for like a database. So I put the cards in, and okay, who's female, who's got a dog, who's got and so on, and then let the lever off, and anybody who matches all those would drop out. So I made a computer when I was 6, and I showed my son how to make one as well. But when the computers actually came along, the personal computers came along, it was like, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's the same thing. It's just using a different technology, not punched holes, but magnetic marks on a piece of tape or something.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, naturally, we are supposed to be able to look at things and go and understand. Yeah, there are people who they'll hear you play a song on a piano, and they'll go to the piano and play it because. And you don't have to be like an autistic savant to be able to do that. Some people do that.
He plays guitar for the best part of 30 odd years, and he doesn't know how to read music.
Right. That's the key, because there is a bloodline here.
Right.
And
he's written tracks, and when I mean written tracks, I don't know his process. I would have to ask him, but he doesn't sit and write music. He just does it. I don't know how he does it.
Yes. But what I'm saying is there's a bloodline here who can't do that. Okay, this bloodline cannot do this. This is the royal families, the elite families. They don't have what we call creative intelligence. Okay, what they do have.
Dolly said that sometimes. She says this as well.
Creative.
They're not creative.
They're not creative.
So they go after the creative.
Yes, that's why there's nothing new under the sun. Yeah.
Anything creative, they can't create.
They can't. They steal it and they twist it and give it back to you in a twisted format. So literally, this is why the Old Testament is a book of guidance as well, because there's nothing new under the sun. They can't come up with anything new. They can take the same thing and repackage it so that you don't recognize it. Yeah. So, but it's the same thing. So just like Pharaoh said let's kill all the children, kill all the male children, and kill all the, now we've got Planned Parenthood. Same thing, just repackaged, and they give you a nice story, give you a DVD and tell you, oh, it's a different thing altogether. And you go, oh yeah, okay. But it's the same
shows on TV, music shows of I don't know what do they have on these days? The Britain's Got Talent,
all the talent, the voice, all of that.
These
looking for creative people.
And then you've got the artists that go in university. Oh, who's the up and coming? Because we're going to get
who's
them.
ducks?
Who's
ducks
use
here?
them.
Who's ducks?
We're going to use them, and then we're going to make all this money, and then we'll just get rid of them when we're going to steal their ideas. They spot the creative so quickly.
Yeah, that's why they have valedictorian ducks, all of the top 3% of all the education places. They recognize them and then put them into programs, right? Skull and Bones, the rest of it. I mean, I said programs, people might not even agree with that word, but it's the word I use. But they channel the ones that aren't already born into it.
Well, I also saw that when I was in America, I had this idea and I went to patent it. And I found out that there's something called a classified patent system. As soon as you submit something for a patent, basically the military get to have a look at it first to see if they can use it. Then the corporations get to have a look at it to see if they can use it. And if either of them,
little dip.
Yeah, and if it's something they can use, then you won't get a patent. Yeah, they'll have it off you, gone. You won't get a patent. So literally, they're using this system, right? Ostensibly, to give you some protection for your invention, but really, it's literally a streamlined way of taking inventive ideas and using them, right? Now I saw something the other day. Actually, it was really annoying. I went to a venture capitalist when I was working at this company. There was a VC there that was funding the startup we were on, and I went to him with an idea. And 2 days ago, I saw the idea. Literally, somebody's doing a GoFundMe for the exact same idea, using almost the same name of the thing. This
is why I believe places like Instagram and YouTube and all that, they're looking at what's going on there to steal your ideas.
Yeah.
People putting art up and that, and then you get like, God, I did something like that's a bit familiar. If you're posting it all everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think they're doing that with the flat Earth as well. That's what NASA are doing. They're watching what we say, going back into their archives and making changes. Yeah. I remember doing a bit about. There's that famous picture of Buzz Aldrin coming down the ladder with his leg out, and in the background, because it's a nice wide picture, so. The lunar lander and Aldrin are in one corner basically of this picture, and on the other side is the Earth, just above the horizon. And I pointed out, yes, the Earth. How can the Earth be on the horizon when the face of the moon is always pointing at the Earth? And so next thing you know, we find out is they're on the NASA site. They've got the same picture, but they've cropped off the part with the Earth on it.
Yes. They've just gone slice and dice.
Yes, it's like we can't argue this one. We'll just anybody comes along later is going to go, nothing to see here.
So true.
So they're watching. They are watching everything that we do, and, you know, using our creative abilities and our intelligence essentially to fix their mistakes.
Yep, they're watching.
Big
They're
brother.
watching. They're constantly paying attention, because do you know what happens when they stop paying attention? Panic stations for them.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you just a little bit of a question here, because we're coming up to the end of our 2-hour tour-a-thon.
That was quick.
And, no, I'm like really reluctant. I've seen requests for everyone going just another 3 hours, and I'm like, guys, I'm still in Stockport. I'm not in London. Like, I do have kids and dog. Dolly has been up for more than 24 hours now. Like, you've been up since yesterday morning. Dolly's not been to sleep. Like, we were, yeah. So I would love to go another 3 hours, but I think what we'll do is, by the time we wrap up, could you promise me to come back on and we'll talk some more? Because I really feel like the pursuit of truthiness didn't quite cover everything in 4 parts. I think we should just maintain that and keep it going while there's things to talk about, because there's a list the length of my arm and then some. It's almost infinite. And another thing I want to say is that these are the type of conversations that are going to happen on the tour, because I've watched the conversations you've had at Speaker's Corner, Dave, and every time I think I know what I'm walking up to you speaking about, I end up going, how did we get here? And it's just the run of the mill of whoever it is that's come up to you and wants to, and if you can indulge them, I see that you do. And I do see you putting your hands up when you go, listen, that's probably as far as I can go on that. I've seen you not inclined to take things further because it's no longer an informed opinion. You're going, how much of an efficient use of time is that? And that's what's beautiful about this, the contrast and full spectrum of topics. Nothing's off the table, really. There's nothing I've seen someone come up to you with that went, yeah, I'm just not.
Why should it be?
Exactly.
Why are we not allowed to question what we want to question?
That's it. So if you want to see more of that, please help us by getting the tour across Europe. We need the tour to get across Europe. We're willing to do this relay. We're willing to put our time on the line. None of us want paying for doing it. The truth free, unfortunately, as Adam Meakin and the guys at Iron Rail Media said, the petrol and fuel stations won't give us it for free. They won't give us the fuel for free. We're going to have to pay for that. And I know that Adam, Jason, Robin, myself, Ranty, we're all putting our own into this as well. Like, I know Adam's doing bits and pieces for it, and I'm not going to speak for Adam, but I know that for the time that I'm driving, I'm going to be trying to put as much petrol in as I possibly can. I'm not just going to be sat there with my arms folded, go on in, gas her up, guys. I'm going to be putting in as much as everybody else, and you're going to be with us all the way. We're all going to have our phones, laptops. We've definitely upgraded ourselves since the last tour. The kind of hop, skip and jump connections we were getting last year is not the case this year. For one, I've got a network that goes all the way across Europe. I'm not going to have a problem with signal or internet or the lack of it or whatever. I'm going to have the normal problems that everyone else has, but not the ability to stream all the time. And we are going to try and involve you as much as we can on the tour. I know Jason's already had requests for me to put GoPros inside the camper so that when we want to do an extended live stream, because there may be evenings that we're on the camper and we're talking about things and one of us may go, there's nothing here that's being said that couldn't be streamed. Why would you guys miss out on brilliant conversations?
Yeah, that's one in the toilet as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think what we'll do is we'll draw a line somewhere. I don't think you need to see people sleeping like they do on Big Brother. However,
some people will.
You know, if it warrants donations and you want to see people snore, I don't know if I snore. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out. But
I'll let you know.
Participation with this tour is going to be uncapped. And what I mean by that is if we can facilitate it and you want to see it, we're not going there for a joke. And this is not something we're going to be able to do every few months. We're doing almost 15,000 miles across Europe. And if you want to get involved and you really want to put your head above the parapet and be involved in this tour, as people at the Really Woke show meetup that I'd only just met, literally only just met, and they said, oh, look, you know, don't know how things are fixed with work, but I could probably get a few days in September, actually. Not sure if it's at the start, middle or end, but if I contact closer to the time, even if we get a hire car and we follow the camper. This is what people are telling me at the Really Woke Show meetup. And I'm going, wow, I don't even know you. And you're just going, no, that's fine. I mean, if there's anything we can do, even if we turn up there and we're just, I don't know, looking after the banners, or I don't know. And if we're there and we happen to talk, and that's great, but we just want to be a part of it. And I'm going, this is the silent majority I'm speaking to. When have I seen you in the chat rooms? Oh, I don't do chat rooms. Well, how many times did that come out yesterday? Don't do chat rooms. I'm not in that. No, I don't sign in to YouTube. And it's like, really? Until you have these conversations, I can't vouch for them because they're not there. I know the views are there to a certain extent, but these people are now coming out and really anonymity-wise going, I'm here. So
I think we need to at least give the link to the next stream, because
Jason of the Disbury family has just popped a link into the chat room. If you would all help yourselves and click that link, you're more than welcome to leave us and go to the next part of the Tour-a-thon, the Megathon Tour-a-thon, the Make Earth Great Again Tour-a-thon. Oh, I like that. Make Earth Great Again. Shall we make Earth great again? Shall we? Together.
Mega.
Make it mega. Let's make Earth great again and get this truth around this censorship issues. We all know we're being heavily censored, and we all know we're having to find alternative ways to get around this, which is why we're on the street. You can be a part of this, whether you're there in person or not. I implore you to do so. Click over to the next stream. If you haven't gone and checked out the GoFundMe, it's www.gofundme.com/F/globe-lie-euro-tour-2009. It's on the screen right now with Adam Meakin's profile picture there underneath us from Iron Rail Media. Thank you so much to Doc Martin. Thank you so much to all of you that have taken the time to tune in to us. I've greatly appreciated you being here with us. And I personally, for a long time, haven't seen that many live viewers. So the fact that there's so many of you watching, no matter how many of you that have participated in the chat room, I thank each and every one of you for being here, whether it's in the chat room or just watching from the sidelines. You're all just as important as each other. And thank you for being here as part of the silent majority as well, because we do exist. Just because we haven't ticked the boxes we were given doesn't mean that we're not a self-evident truth. We're here. It's happening.
Well, thanks all, and hope to catch up with you guys later.
Yay! All right, my darlings, click that link that Jason put in, and we shall all see you soon. Bye.
Get some.
Adios.
Bye.
And I think that's us.
I'll be going. I'll just switch off.